Hi everyone, and we're back. So we're so I'm going to go back into rotation projects. The first one being the Book of Taking of Ireland, Libor Gobla Erin, or the Book of Takings of Ireland, and um and also we're going to be working with Phaedra by Seneca. Now, we're going to do the Book of Taking Ireland now, and I'm just going to warn you, you can definitely tell Christian monks wrote this, and because it starts with the book of Genesis, with the Garden Eden, um, and the Great Flood, and because it kind of goes into a bit of a bold list of names, similar to parts of the Iliad, we're going to be skipping the first few pages so we can sort of get to the point. So with that, let's crack in. Now, I'm going to try and find a good place to start. Magog, son of Iphiath, there is certainty of his progeny, of them was Parthon of Bamba, decorous was his achievement. Of them noble Nemed, son of Agamemnon, unique of them were Ganganid, Singed, free slain. And I'm just going to skip to when we really get our story going. Bath, one of the two sons of Ibith, of him and of them Gil and the people of Scythia, he had a son, the noble, eminent man whose name was Phineas Fursed. It is he who was one of the 72 chieftains who went for the building of Nimrod's tower once the languages were dispersed. Howbeit, Nimrod himself was the son of Cush, Ham, and Noah. This is Phineas aforesaid who brought the people's speech from the tower, and is he who had the great school of learning, the multiplicity of languages. Now Phineas had two sons, Ninu, one of the two, whom he left in the princedom of Scythia. Behind him now the other son at the tower was he born. Now he was the master of all the languages, wherefore he came to summon him from Pharaoh, in order to learn the multiplicity of languages from him. But Phineas came out of Asia to Scythia, once he had gone from the building of the tower, so that he died in the princedom of Scythia at the end of 40 years, and passed on the chieftainship to his son Niniel. At the end of the 42 years after the building of the tower, Ninus son of Belus took the kingship of the world. For no other attempted to exercise authority over the peoples or to bring the multitude of nations under one head and under tax and tribute, but alone after time there have been chieftains, he who was the noblest and most in favor of the community. He it was who was the chief counselor for every man who should avert all injustices and further all justice. No attempt was made to invade or dominate other nations. Now that is the time when Gidil Glus, from whom are the Gidu, was born of Scota, son of Pharaoh. From her are the Scots named Ut dictum est. Fene are named for Phanes, a meaning without secretiveness. Gidil from the commonly Gidil Scots from Scota. It is Gidel Glass who fashioned the Gaelic language out of the 72 languages. There are the names Bithian, Scythian, etc. under poeticicitant. The languages of the world, see for yourself: Bithynia, Scythia, Sicily, Hyrenia, Gothia, Graecia, Germania, Gallia with horror, Pentopolis, Phrygia, Palmatia, Dardania, Pamphylia, Mauritania, Populus, Laconia, Bactria, Creta, Corsica, Cyprus, Thessaly, Cappadocia, Noble Armenia, Raetia, Sicilia, Saracen land, Sardinia, Belgia, Boeotia, Britannia, Tuneful, Rhodos, Hispania, Roma, Rhegia, Phoenicia, India, Golden Arabia, Magdonia, Mazca, Macedonia, Parthia, Caria, Syria, Saxonis, Athenia, Achaia, Albania, Herbia, Arcadia, Clear Galatia, Tros, Thessaly, Seclarius, Mosia, Media, Persidia, Francia, Cyrene, Lacedaemania, Lombardia, Thracia, Numidia, Hellas, here lofty Italia, Ethia, Egypt. That is the tally of languages without tarnish out of which Gidio cut Gadulic. Known to me is their role of understanding the group of manifold languages. Now Isru, son of Isru, son of Gidio, he it is who was chieftain for the Gidio who went out of Egypt after Pharaoh was drowned, with his host in the Red Sea of Israel. 770 years from the flood till then. 440 years from that time which Pharaoh was drowned after Isru came out of Egypt, till the time when the sons of Mil came to Ireland, to wit, Eber Herman once said, 40 and 400 years is no falsehood, from when the people of God came. But ye certain over the surface of Merib, till they landed in the sea of the clear sea, they the sons of Mel in the land of Ireland. 4 ships company strong went through out of Egypt. There were 24 wedded couples, and 3 hirelings for every ship. Through Anison, Eberscott, they were the chieftains of the expedition. It is then that Naniel, son of Beth, son of Niniel, son of Phineas Farsad, prince of Scythia, died, and Through also died immediately after reaching Scythia. Eberstock took by force the kingship of Scythia from the progeny of Niniel, till he fell at the hands of Numius, son of Nimiel. There was a contention between Nomius and Bohemian, son of Eberscott. Bohemian took the kingship till he fell at the hands of Nomius. Nomius took the princedom till he fell at the hands of Ogamain, son of Bohemain, and vengeance for this father. Ogamain took the kingship till he died. Rifil, son of Nomius, took the kingship till he fell at the hands of Tot, son of Ogamain. Thereafter, Tot fell at the hands of Riflor, son of Rifil. Thereafter, there was a contention for the princedom between Riflor, grandson of Nomius, and Agamain, son of Tat, until Riflor fell at the hands of Ogamain. For that reason was the sea of Gidio driven forth upon the sea to wit Agamain and Levin his son, so that they were 7 years on the sea, scouring the world on the north side. More than can be reckoned are the hardships which they suffered. The reason why the name Levin was given to the son of Agamain was because no greater was the radiance of the candles than his hand at the towing. They had 3 ships with a coupling between them, that none of them should move away from the rest. They had 3 chieftains after the death of Agamain, On the surface of the great Caspian Sea lived Ela and Kekir, the Druid. It is Kekir, the Druid, who gave the remedy to them. When the siren was making melody to them, sleep was overcoming them. At the music, this is the remedy which Kekir found for them, to melt wax into their ears. And you can tell here that the author really took liberties in borrowing both from the Bible and from the Odyssey. Again, you can tell that this was written by monks. Glufin, son of Lufin, son of Ogmain, Bowman, son of Eberscott, son of Shrew, son of Ishru, son of Guiskla, son of Nel, son of Phineas Fursad. Is that breath who came out of the marshes along the torrents to Crete and to Sicily. They reached Spain thereafter. They took Spain by force. As for Ogmain son of Tat, he is the leader of the Gidu who came out of Scythia. He had two sons, Lufhem and Alad. Lumhen had one son, Eber Glufin. Allah had a son, Eber Dub. At the same time as the sojourn in the marshes, they had two grandsons in joint rule, Tolchit, son of Tetrich, Eberdub, and Ninul, son of Theber, son of Agni, son of Eber Glufin. There was also Sochid, son of Monton, and son of Kakir. And as a quick aside, whenever we get into long both lists of names of sons, feel free to make Lord of the Rings jokes about the importance of names and pronunciation and languages. Just feel free to have fun in the comment section. Us and Os, two sons of Lot, son of Ninul, son of Nemed, son of Allah, and so on. 4 ship companies strong came the Gido to Spain, and every ship 14 wedded couples and 7 unwed hirelings. Brath, a ship's company, Us and Os, 2 ship companies. 2 brethren were they, the sons of Alot, and Montan, Calcir the Druid, son of Urka, son of Comchit. The ship's company, so they broke 3 bows after going to Spain, a bow against the Tuscans, a bow against the Lombardi, and a bow against the Barchu. But there came a plague upon them, and 24 of their numbers died, including Os and Us. Out of the 2 ships none escaped, save twice 5 men, including In, son of Us, and Un, son of Us. Broth had a good son named Brigon, by whom built the tower, and the say Braganza was the say's name. From Brogan's tower was that Ireland was seen, an evening of a day of the winter, ut son Bragan saw, ungilla comen sesinit Gadil Glass, of whom are the Gadil, son was he of Nel. With store of wealth he was mighty west and east. Nel son of Phineas Farsad. Phineas had 2 sons, I speak truth, Nel our father, and Ninul. Nel was born at the tower in the east, Ninul in Scythia bright as a shield. After Phineas, the hero Ocean, there was great envy between the brethren. Nel slew Ninul, who was not gentle. The high king was expelled. He went to Egypt through valor till he reached the powerful Pharaoh. Till he bestowed Skota of no scanty beauty, the modest, nimble daughter of Pharaoh. Skota was bore a son to noble Nel, from whom was born a great perfect race. Gadil Glass was the name of the man. Green were his arms and his vesture. And again, quick aside, basically the Book of Invasions, or the Book of Taking of Ireland, is basically the Irish version of the Bible. Fierce Esru was son to him, who was a lord with heavy arms, the son of Esru, Shrew of the ancient hosts, to whom was made all the fame attributed to him. Shrew, son of Esru, son of Gidu, our ancestor rejoicing in troops. He is too who went northward to his house over the surface of the red Mare Rubrum. The crew of 4 ships bore the tail of his host along the red Mare Rubrum. In his house of planks we may say 24 wedded couples. The prince of Scythia, it was a clear fact, the youth whose name was Niniol, is then he died yonder in his house when the Gedil arrived. Aberscott of the heroes assumed the kingdom over the progeny of Niniol unashamed till he fell with no gentle kindness at the hands of Nomius, son of Niniol. The strong son of Eber thereafter, who had the name Bomen, of perfect purity to the shore of the Caspian Sea, he was king till he fell at the hand of Nomius. Nomius, son of Niniol, of the strong cell in Scythia, checkered like a shield, the perfect fair prince fell by the hands of Ogman, son of Bomen. Thereafter Ogman was prince after Nomius of good strength, till he died in his territory unchurched. After him Rephil was king. Thereafter Rephil fell by the hand of Tate, son of Ogman. Tate fell, though he was not feeble, by the hands of Riflor, son to Rephil. Riflor and Agamemnon, without blemish, 7 years were they in contention till Riflor fell with tumult by the victorious hand of Agamemnon. Naniel and Rephil, with the spear point 2 sons of Riflor, son of Rephil, they drove Agamemnon out over the raging sea, great and green. Good were the chieftains, it was sufficient, who came out of Scythia, Agamemnon, Eber, without blemish, and 2 sons of Tate, son of Agamemnon. Allot, Lamphand, of the green hand, conspicuous of the 2 sons of very bright Agamemnon, Kakir and Sing famed with victory, the 2 good sons of Eber of the red steed. The number of their ships, 3 ships coming over heavy waves, 80 the crew of every ship, a clear saying and women very 30. Agnomane died, it was no reproach in the islands of the great Caspian Sea. The place where they were for a year, they found very secret. They reached the full Libyan Sea, a sailing of 6 complete summer days. Glauce, son of Agnomane, who was not despicable, died there in Cercina. A fair island found they were, on the Libyan Sea of warrior blades. A season over a year with fame their sojourn in that island. They sail on the sea, a brilliant fact both by day and by night. The sheen of the hands of lustrous Lamphand was like to fair candles. 4 chieftains had they who were not despicable. After coming over the Libyan Sea, Allot Lamphand was fit over the sea. Sing and his brother Kakir found a remedy for them. Yonder for the melody of the sirens, this is the remedy that Kakir found to melt wax in their ears. They found a spring and a land at the Riphean headland with great might, having the taste of wine thereafter. Their thirst overcame them mightily, soundly they slept, to the end of 3 days without sorrow, till Kakir the faithful druid wakened the noblemen impatiently. It is Kakir, a brilliant fulfillment, who made a prophecy to them at the Raphian mountain with a headland. We have no rest until Ireland. In what place is lofty Ireland? Said Lamphil, the violent warrior. Very far, said Kakir. It is not we who reach it, but our children. They advance in their battalion with venom southward past the Ruffian headlands. The progeny of Gedil, with purity they landed at the marshes. A glorious son was born there to Lamphand, son of Agnomane. Eber Lumfund, Pure the Griffin, the curl-haired grandfather of Fibri. The family of Gedil, the brisk and white, were 300 years in that land. They dwelt there thenceforth until Broth the victorious came. Broth, the noble son of faithful Death, came to Crete to Sicily, the crew of 4 ships of a safe sailing right hand to Europe on to Spain. Os and Us without blemish, the 2 sons of Alad son Nino, Montan son of Kekir, faithful Broth, they were the 4 leaders. 14 men with their wives made the crew for every ship full of warriors, and 6 noble hirelings. They won 3 battles in Spain, lofty the first battle, I shall not conceal, which they won against the host of Tuscans, a battle against the Bacra with violence, and a battle against the Longobardi. It was after the sinister battle that there came to them a plague of one day. The people of the ships of the sons of Alot without fault were all dead except 10 persons. An end came out of it. 2 noble sons of the strong chieftains thereafter was Brigham born, father of Baal, the strong and raging. He broke a great number of fights and battles against the many-colored hosts of Spain. Brigham of the shouts of valorous deeds, of the combats by him was built Brittany. Brigham son of Broth, gentle and good, he had a son, Mil. The 7 sons of Mil, good their hosts, including Eraman, along with Dond and Eric with Bel, including along with Arana, including Argman with bright countenance, along with Kolfa of the sword. The 10 sons of Brigham without falsehood, Briga fought, and Mermithini, Kuganakola, famed 3 of were Eblo, Nar, Ith, and Bel. Ith, son of Brigham, with tuneful fame, came at the first into Ireland. He is the first of men who inhabited it, of the noble seed of the powerful Gidu. In principio ficit duus colum et terram. God made heaven and earth at the first, and he himself hath no beginning nor end. And it's at this point, the story goes back a bit timeline-wise, and we meet Kessier. A daughter of Bith, son of Noah. 40 days before the flood, Partholon, son of Sarah, 300 years after the flood, Nemed, at the end of the 30 years after Partholon, the Firbolg thereafter, the Ferdolman thereafter, the Galleon thereafter, along with them the Tuath Didanon, thereafter the sons of Mel, thereafter, as Fenton said, Fenton assistant. Ireland, whoever asked of me, I know pleasantly, every taking that took her from the beginning of the tuneful world. Kessier came from the east. The woman was daughter of Bith, with her 50 maidens with her 3 men. Flood overtook Bith in his mountain, is no secret. Ladra in Ardladrond, Kessier in her nook. But as for me, he buried me, the Son of God, above the company. He snatched the flood from me, above heavy Twinde. I had a year under the flood in strong Twinde. I found nothing for my sustenance, an unbroken sleep were best. I was in Ireland here, my journey was everlasting till Partholon reached her. From the east, from the lands of Greeks. I was here in Ireland, and Ireland would desert till the son of Agamemnon reached Nimid. Brilliant his fashion. The Firbolg and Firgulin came. It was long ago. The Firdonen came. They landed on a headland in the west. There, Thereafter the 12th day came in their masses of fog, so that there was sustenance for me, though it was a long lifetime. The sons of Mil came from Spain from the south, so that there was sustenance for me at their hands, though they were strong in battle. A long life fell to my lot. I shall not conceal it till faith overtook me from the King of heaven of clouds. I am Fintan, the white son of Bokna. I shall not conceal it. After the flood, here I am, a noble great sage. Incipient day, the takings of Ireland. Thereafter, Cassir, daughter of Bith, son of Noah, took it, ut poeta dixit, 40 days before the flood. This is the reason for coming, fleeing from the flood. For Noah said unto them, Rise, said he, and go to the west edge of the world. Perchance the flood may not reach it. The crew of the 3 ships arrived at Duna Mekrock in the territory of Corco Dabney. 2 of the ships were wrecked. Cassir with the crew of her ship escaped, 50 women and 3 men, Beth son of Noah, and of whom Silabitha named. There was he buried in the great stone heap of Slabitha, Ladra the pilot of whom is Ard Labrand. He is the first dead man who went under the soil of Ireland. Fenton Thambokra, of whom is Fenton grave over Tuatunde. Cassir died in Kulkasarch and Kolkna with her 50 maidens. And these are their names, Utfencescent. A just division we share between us, myself, Bith, and bold Ladra. For peace and for reason was it done. In the matter of the 50 magnificent maidens, 17 women I took, including Kesser, Lotlum, Ma, Mar, Frocha, Femar, Febe, Forlo, Sipir, Toren, Tamal, Tam, Abba, Allah, Bakne, Sele. That is the tale which we were there. 17 Bith took with Barfanhan, Sela Della Dueb, Edos, Fotra, Trej Nera, Buana, Tamal, Tana, Nathra, Leos, Vadorg, Dos Close. Be it heard those were our people further. 16 thereafter with Ladra. Abba, Bona, Abor, El, Gothium, German, Athne, Indie, Vodrag, Rini, Echo, and Aaron, Espa, Sim, Sumo. That was our fair company. None the sea of Adam took Ireland before the flood but those. Now Ireland was a waste thereafter for a space of 300 years, or 312 quod utris est, till Parthon, son of Sarah, son of Shrew, came to it. He is the first who took Ireland after the flood, on a Tuesday on the 14th of the moon, and in the scene, for 3 times was Ireland taken in Berserin. The progeny of Maga, son of Erfrith, was he, ut duxe supra. In the 16th year of the age, Abraham Parthon took Ireland. And that is where we're going to stop today. And this is, remember, a primary resource of Irish mythology, and it's going to be a long dry read, but it really does tell us culturally what Ireland sees itself as. With that, I'll leave you. Have a good one.